Alright, so imagine you're going on a world tour. Not the nice one with hotels and buffets, but the kind where you dive into a country, hunt around for all you can find, and build a hut with your own two hands. And then you're told you can never return. That's it. One visit, one shot, a horrendously planned vacation. Now replace the nations with deadly biomes, and the luggage with a survival knife and a guidebook with a fish that screams like a jet engine underwater. And step into the worst holiday itinerary in the galaxy. This is Subnautica, but every biome is a one-time thing. You don't get to farm the kelp forest whenever you need more fiber mesh. You don't get to construct 6 bases because you enjoy the view. No, you get one trip to every biome, one chance to loot it, and one chance to make it count. Here are the rules. Rule number 1. You can only make use of the resources in each biome once. That means one scavenging trip per biome. No going back for copper because you forgot a battery. If you didn't grab it the first time, it's gone. Rule number 2. You can only build one base in each biome once. No relocating, no rebuilding. One base per biome, ever. Rule number 3. You can travel through biomes you've used before, but only if it's the only path to a new, unused biome. No detours, no collecting things along the way. Rule number 4. You can pass through an old biome to move gear from a base you've built to a new base. Logic is allowed, looting is not. Rule number 5. The Sea Emperor tank doesn't count as a biome. You could go back there as many times as you want, along with the biome you left to visit her. Every biome is a ticking bomb of regret. Enter too early, you waste the loot. Enter too late, you get crushed under 900 meters of pressure with no lithium and no plan B. Can you beat Subnautica if you can only use every biome once? Let's find out.
Launch in 3, 2, 1.
The game starts with me in the safe shallows, and for the most part, I'm basically just resource gathering. Spoilers, that's going to be what the majority of this video is, leading up to resource gathering to leading up to the end and building the escape rocket. But for now, I'm resource gathering, focusing mainly on getting past my biggest hurdle, which is actually getting the creepvine seed clusters, because you need that to make the survival knife, you need that to make the habitat builder, and I can't leave biomes until I make the habitat builder, because without it, I basically can't do anything, because my life pod is only in the safe shallows. So basically just resource gather, find a creepvine that's like on the border of the kelp forest and the safe shallows, just close enough so I can grab the seed clusters and make a habitat builder. Once I actually get enough resources to get a stable start and get the habitat builder, survival knife, O2 tank, fins, I decide that it's finally time to move over to the kelp forest so I can start farming for lead and silver and gold in the mobile vehicle bay fragments. So I move over to the kelp forest, and the safe shallows is now off limits.
The reactor will reach a supercritical stage. System minus. You have exceeded your weekly exercise. 8 by 7 for 6. Data 5 that's favorite activity. 3, 2.
The main goal that I was working towards the whole time in the kelp forest was to make the radiation suit so I could actually get closer to the aurora, because the route that I have planned out in my head next, I'm going to go to the mushroom forest right next to the crash zone, so that way I can farm for Cyclops blueprints, I can farm for lithium, so, and it's right next to the bulbush zone, so I can go and get the bulbush sample, I can get the mushroom spores for the hatching enzymes at the end of the game. I also forgot to mention, since this kelp forest is right next to like the mountains biome and the underwater islands, there was an eye stalk seed that I was able to get over there as well. But after I craft the radiation suit, I move on to the mushroom forest, and I'm done with the kelp forest. The majority of my time in the mushroom forest, unlike the safe shallows and the kelp forest and any other biome that I'm in, the majority of the time isn't spent on resource gathering or crafting. It's actually spent on collecting blueprints, specifically for the Cyclops and the Moon Pool. And I need these blueprints later on to actually build the Cyclops so I could get the shield generator to make the rocket to escape. So there's nothing really of note in here. I know I'm kind of speeding through this, but like I said, if I didn't speed through this, a lot of the footage you would be watching would just be me collecting stuff so I could craft things later. I had a whole list written out of everything I needed. I needed like 100 titanium ingots. I needed like 70 plasteel ingots. I needed a lot of stuff. For the big like time spender in the beginning was collecting just so much titanium. I needed an ungodly amount of titanium. And I also needed to be careful about what resources I would bring into the next biome. So I would always bring a surplus of resources in the next biome because I'm not sure if I would need it or not. It's just, you need to do a lot of planning ahead. Even if you don't think you're going to need it, you should just bring it anyway, just in case, because it's better than like being down the road and you're like, oh shit, I'm in the kelp forest and now I need table coral sample. Well, now I'm just screwed until I get to like the Lost River or something. It's just, you just need to, you have to know. And even if you do know, just do it anyway, because it's better to be safe than to just be like, crap, now I have to restart again. I restarted this run like 3 times. Before I wanted to move on to the crash zone over at the Aurora, I made a quick pit stop over at the bulb zone and grabbed the bulbush sample that I needed to make the hatching enzymes, and I was done with the mushroom forest and the bulb zone. Making my way to the crash site, I'm basically just collecting what's left of my Cyclops blueprints, getting the engine blueprints because I finished the hole in the bridge blueprints in the mushroom forest. In the actual Aurora, I just go into the captain's quarters and get the schematics for the Neptune escape rocket. That's about it for the crash site. I mean, there's not really much to have there. My next biome that I will be going to has me doing a trek across the map to the floating island. I'll be making a short stop there just to get a few last minute food items. And then I go over to the Sparse reef, and from there my plan is to go to the grassy plateaus, and there's a mushroom caves entrance that I could glitch through the ceiling and go down to the Lost River and go straight down to the thermal plant in the active lava zone. Then it's just the very short process of moving all my stuff from the crash site to the floating island. Yeah, I had to make this trip like 4 or 5 times. This is just a little snippet of what I had to do. Sped up, by the way. It sucked moving everything from biome to biome. And actually getting the stuff to build the base in each biome was a whole nother thing, because sometimes I would misplace some items. And if I was ever in like a biome where I couldn't get quartz or titanium like readily available, I was just screwed. I would be down a power set, or I would be down a solar panel, or I'd be down a locker for that, and I literally couldn't do anything, and it sucked. And this was bad. This was a bad challenge idea. I don't know what I was thinking when I cooked this one up. This isn't even that interesting. People are even gonna watch this. Are you even watching this right now? Or am I just talking to like an audience of 0 people? Now that I'm finished with the crash site, The only like order of business, the only thing that I actually have to do on the floating island is just get the purple tablet there, which I will need for later on when I make it to the thermal plant. So I spend all of like 10 minutes on here and then I move to the Sparse reef. So I'm done with the crash site and I'm done with the floating island. Moving on to the Sparse reef, a few things of note actually do happen here. I collect ruby and I collect gel sacks to make aerogel for the Neptune escape rocket. I find a couple time capsules, and I also find the ghost weed seed that I need for the hatching enzymes. I also find deep sea shrooms to make hydrochloric acid to make polyaniline for the Cyclops deep shield generator, so I can make the escape rocket. So it's just more resource collecting, but I do make some somewhat significant milestones here, and I get a couple time capsules, which are nice. First time capsule I got was, I made it. As much as I enjoyed this planet, it's time to go now. I leave you with only one suggestion. Explore every nook and cranny of this wonderful place. You won't regret it. I'll leave you some modifications for your Seamoth that will max out its exploration capabilities. Enjoy and happy hunting. Thank you. I will be exploring a lot of the map. However, I don't need a Seamoth for this challenge, so unfortunately, I did have to throw that away. But I did appreciate the other gifts that you left me, and I appreciate the good luck that you gave me. They also left me a Seamoth sonar upgrade and a thermal knife. Like I said, I threw away the sonar upgrade, but I kept the thermal blade, because that was very useful for getting food. The second time capsule that I got was, want to hear a joke? What did the ocean say to the shore? Nothing. It just waved. Sorry, that was a dry joke. Here's some water. Savitar. Thank you, Savitar. I'll take that water. I needed water really bad, because there wasn't really a viable way to get it, because bladderfish are only in a few biomes, but with these two waters, it really went a long way. After getting all I needed from the Sparse Reef, I moved on to the grassy plateaus in the area I needed, so that way I got outside the cave system that I needed to go to, and it was time to make my way down to the Lost River, and from there down to the active lava zone at the thermal castle, so that way I could get the ion battery blueprints, and from there I could go to the Sea Emperor place, get the things for the hatching enzymes, power up her place, get a few ion power cubes, and from there the portal from her area would take me over to the mountains. When I come out on the other side of the portal, I reach the mountains at the island, so I can actually do everything here. There's a bunch of ion cubes I have to get. When I do make the hatching enzymes, I can disable the gun, and we just did a lot. So let's cross them all off the list. We are finished with the grassy plateaus, and we're gonna move all of my gear from the grassy plateaus base over to the mountains. We're finished with our Lost River. We're finished with the inactive and active lava zone. So now we're in the mountains, and we have to make do with what we have now. The footage in the background is sped up by 10 times. Yeah, I had to make this trip like 5 times. This was what made up the majority of the run. This run took me a while. I could have easily cut off like 45 minutes to an hour off this run if I just didn't have to just swim back and forth over and over and over again. And I can only imagine, I tried this 2 other times, and both of those other times I had different rules. And the different rules were, you can't go into other biomes, like, at all, no matter what. You go into a biome, you go into another one, biome's locked out forever. You can't transfer items like how I have this rule now. And while that made the game like quicker, I was playing on the legacy build, so you could actually do like a locker glitch and drop all your items. Can't do that in this legacy build. So I did change the rules for that. But God. After making the hatching enzymes, I go back and I hatch the Sea Emperor's kids, so that way I can cure myself and disable the gun so I could get the rocket out of here. And the rest of it is smooth sailing from here. I just go to the crash in the mountains and I collect the Cyclops shield upgrade so I can make the rocket, and it's smooth sailing from here. Except, wait a minute. The Cyclops shield upgrade isn't in the mountains, it's in the dunes. So now I have to make the painstaking trip of moving all my stuff from my base in the mountains over to the dunes so that way I can actually make the rocket, because I have to get the shield generator. And here, outside Rec 6, with the Cyclops shield generator, I got another time capsule. And this time capsule was starter items. I leave these items since I don't need them anymore. Maybe another poor, stranded guy, who knows, might find some use for it. It's time for me to go home. Ship is counting down. And they left a bunch of tools with ion batteries in them. That was very useful. I already made the ion batteries that I needed, but this still helped. I just would have appreciated it a little sooner. Then I just had to make the Cyclops, make the shield generator, make the Neptune escape rocket launch pad platform, make the engines, make everything, make the hull, make the bridge, and then it was time to finally launch the rocket, and I could cross this entire planet off of biomes that I visited.
A lie.